Today I want to talk to you about how to build a leader. So to demonstrate that today, I've cut up 3 pieces of fly line so it makes it easier for you to see and for me to demonstrate with. We're going to start with the butt section, the section that is connected to your fly line. It is the heaviest section of the leader that will help turn over that fly. Most fly lines are sold with a welded loop. Therefore, to build a leader, you need to also create a loop on your leader so that you can connect through loop to loop. My favorite loop is the perfection loop. So I'm using my blue piece of material here. You would be using a mono or fluoro to build the butt section. So you take your line and you are going to formulate a loop. Notice that my tag end is off the back of the loop. Make sure you have plenty of tag end still available to work with, because this one does require a lot of tag end to formulate the knot. Once you have your first loop situated, you're going to come around the front side around your thumb and formulate the thumb that's holding the knot with your index finger, and you're going to formulate a second knot. So you've got 2 loops. Now with your tag end, you're going to go through the 2, or between, not through, sorry, between the 2 loops, and you're going to pinch it with your fingers. And therefore you've got 3 loops. You've got your main first loop, you've got your loop that goes in front of your thumb, and then you have that tag end laying in between the 2, the front and the back loop. Take your, I'm left-handed, so I'm going to take my left hand and I'm going to reach through the back of the large loop, and I'm going to grab hold of the smaller loop that's in front, and I'm going to pull, not letting go of the main line, but actually even pulling down on the main line, but you can release the tag. It's the main line that you really need to hold on to, as well as that loop that you've grabbed. And this, my friends, is how you know perfection loop has been tied correctly, is when your tag end is coming out at a 90-degree angle. As with any loop knot, when you seat it, you want to get it wet and then really give it a good pull, and then go ahead and cut your tag end. I always like to leave about 1/8 or 1/4 of an inch. This really doesn't matter because it's not in the fish's face. And that is your perfection loop. I'd like to demonstrate for you right now one of my favorite connection knots. What that means is connecting a piece of tippet to another piece of tippet, whether it's a butt section or a pre-made leader that you're just trying to lengthen. This is called the UNI to UNI. The first thing you're going to do is overlap the 2 lines. I usually like to do anywhere from 8 to 10 inches of overlap. This gives you plenty of room to work with and tie your knots. So you're putting them parallel to one another, and then you're going to come in and you're going to grab one of the lines. Right now I'm using the yellow line to tie my first set of knots. I'm going to formulate a loop in front of me, in front of the parallel line, so that that tag is in front of the 2 parallels. In this case, it's going to form the letter D. So you can see the D here. Then with the tag end, I'm going to go over the parallel lines and through the loop back towards myself, over the parallel lines back towards myself, and I'm going to do this 4 times. Usually you want to do it 5 to 6 times, but for the sake of demonstration, because I'm using fly line today, I'm only going to do it 4 times. As you can see, it does a really nice twist around those parallel lines. At that point, I'm going to pull on the tag end and the 2 parallel lines and start to seat that, but I'm not going to seat it too hard, but at least it's going to hold it into place. While that's out here, I'm going to then grab my green line, and this is why it's called UNI to UNI. That's a uni knot. Now I'm going to create another uni knot. This time I'm taking my green line and I'm going to make a B. And I'm going to do that same thing. It's a B in front of the parallel lines, and then I'm going to take that tag end around the back of the parallel lines back through the loop, and I'm going to repeat this 4 times, going over the parallel loop, back through the loop towards myself until I'm complete. Again, I'm going to pull on the tag end to kind of start seating those knots. This one can easily burn line because you're sliding them up and down each other. So you really want to get it wet and then pull. And you're going to pull the 2 main lines and then really give a good pull on your 2 tag ends to make sure it's really well seated. And you can see this it's really nice knot. You know when you've done it well is if all those little loops are parallel to one another and don't cross over each other. And this is just a great knot because it's 2 knots butting up against each other versus cutting into one and the other lines. One of my favorite loop knots that I love to use in both salt and fresh water to give your fly action. It's called the Homer Rhode. The first thing you want to do is to make a loop and then do a double overhand, taking that tag once over and around, twice over and around. Then I'm going to start to pull tension, making sure that I give myself plenty of room to work with that tag end. And if I put enough tension on it, it makes a really nice figure 8. Now don't cinch that too tight because your 8 will go tight. We've got to work with that 8. So once you have your 8 and you've got plenty of tag end to work with, you're going to want to thread on your fly. Once you thread on your fly, you're going to take your tag end and come back in the bottom of that 8 the same way the line's coming out. Follow that line back in, through the bottom of the 8, back through the top of the 8, coming out the same way the main line goes in. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at my loop. How big is too big and how small is too small? Well, the answer to that, at least for me, is I want to make sure that I pinch down that loop small enough where I still have movement, but not too big where it will foul up my fly. Once you find the size of the loop that you want, the way that we seat that knot is with taking the tag in, and you're going to go once around the main line and back through. You're going to take the tag, pull it straight down towards your fly, and then always before seating any knot, you want to get it wet. I'm going to take a pair of pliers, grab the bottom of the J of the hook, and pull on the main line. Now this stretches a little bit because I'm using fly line, so it makes that loop a little bit bigger, but when you're using fluoro, it does not stretch this much. And there you go, your Homer Rhode. This is Meredith McCord for Just One More Cast. Go get 'em.